Salakia. Shalom. Kol halalima Yahweh, Bahasham Yahavashai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and one-third. May peace and blessings be upon your households. And the spirit of endurance. All right. I'd like to check out the verse of the day. All right. We got Psalms 37 and 4. All right. It's a quick hitter. Delight thyself also in the Lord, Yahweh Bahasham Yahavashai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. I mean, there's everything that you do in this world, even on this left-hand side, there's rules and regulations you have to follow to acquire, right? To acquire what's at the end, you know. That saying, there's a pot of gold at the end of whatever, at the end of the rainbow or something, you know. Whatever you got to do, you got to study hard to pass that exam. You got to study right here in the UK, you know, from a UK perspective, you got to take your theory test, and then you got to do your practical test to pass your driving, to get your driving license to drive, right? To know how to, keep yourself healthy, you got to exercise. There's things that you have to do to get to a specific goal, right? And if you believe the Lord has chosen you, given you His name, and is opening your mind to the greater mysteries, shall I say, of this world and beyond, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashai, to acquire this knowledge. You've got to put in the work. You've got to study to show thyself approved. Everyone's got like one body. A body has different aspects, different things that a body does. The finger has one purpose, the thumb, the arm, the brain, the eyes, the body, right? The legs, the toes. The body of Yahweh Shem Yashai, His elect, have different purposes. Some are, amazing, like spiritual ninjas with the scriptures. Some, understand, but they're not so. They understand everything when it's read, but it might take them a little while to find certain scriptures, because they, some of us are Israelite foreigners, so we know that verse of the Bible. Yeah, we understand it. We can find scriptures, but we're not like boom, 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 this precept, that precept, because there's a lot to learn. Some of us are new, even though the Lord has brought this back to our remembrance. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, whatever you want, okay, there's always something you have to do to acquire those goodies, as they say. All right. So if you want Yahweh Shem Yashai to give you certain blessings or certain things that you want, you're not going to ask dumbass things like, I want a Lamborghini or Ferrari or whatever. Now, there's nothing wrong with having it if you lawfully earned the money and you haven't done any kind of weird things to acquire that money. Nothing wrong with that. If the Lord has blessed you like that, kudos to you, as they say, right? But we're not concerned with that. If the Lord wants, you're praying for, I don't know, more spiritual blessings, more opening your mind to the understanding of these scriptures. You want to learn and grow more spiritually. You have to put in the work. You have to watch the lessons of our apostles on down. You have to take notes, right? And even if it's on a scrap piece of paper, you put all those notes together, then you just rewrite everything again, like a second draft. You find the Lashwan Kodash prayers, like GMS Army 144, the elder in Washington, D.C., I believe. He does a lot of excellent prayers in the Lashwan Kodash, which is a pure tongue, the Hebrew. You write it down and you learn it. So you can pray to the Lord in the Lashwan Kodash, and obviously using the name. The name is key, right? Yahweh Bashem Yashai. You also do some reading. You also make some lessons. You do whatever you can, your small portion, whatever it is, in righteousness. You do it. Okay? Everyone's got their portion, right? All right. Let me get one scripture, because I mentioned one body. One body has many offices, King James Version. Yeah, I just got to use certain key words that will make that scripture pop up. Right? I remember one body, many members, offices. So I was just, sometimes I've got to find the scripture. It comes to your mind, you understand what it means, but just to find it, this is what I've got to do. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also in Hamashiach, Salakia. Man, I always get this damn dry throat every time I'm trying to make a video. Salakia for me clearing my throat, man. 1 second. Okay. For as the body is one. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Hamashiach. All right? Like how Transformers or Voltron come together, right? The body of Yahweh Bashem Yashai, man, the elect, have many members, man. All right? But they're all striving for the same penny, So whatever's in your power that you can do, you can't be like Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabal, Apostle Ramlav, Apostle Rakayala, man. You can't be like the bishops. You can't be like the other elders, man. All right? I understand that, we admire some of our elders, they're like spiritual big brothers, spiritual fathers. I get it. I admire them too, I look up to them. I see them as giants spiritually, I look at them with a smile on my face, like I've known these men in a past life. I swear, man, I'm not BSing. It feels like that, like I know them. If I showed up for them, I don't, I believe in past incarnations we've met, and it makes sense because it feels so familiar when you see them, But as an individual, if you want things in this world, you want things to work out, you're going to be put through the ringer, all right? Because, all right, if you've got certain things working out for you, believe that the Lord is going to balance it out by putting you in other situations. Everything else could be hunky-dory for you, but then the Lord could give you plagues of the mind, You're constantly fighting Satan, man. Satan putting these crazy thoughts in your head that someone's trying to do something to you, or, or you walked in a store and somebody's looking at it the wrong way, and then, you might think that, oh, was this guy trying to be funny with me? Like that carnal sort of temperature comes up upon you. You think, then you got to rebuke Satan and say to yourself as well at the same time in the flesh, listen, it's not that serious. He's not saying nothing to you. Maybe he's just having a bad day. He's got that aggressive look on his face. But you can't. You got to get rid of those crazy thoughts. I'm just giving one example. It is a myriad, man, of crazy thoughts that come in my head. That's Satan. All right. Sometimes you might have problems in the flesh. You might get gout. You've been eating clean, and then lo and behold, your knee swells up. Then your other knee swells up. That's happened to me as well. It takes 2 weeks to damn near heal. I'll strictly on the turkey and chicken, having vegetables, and you're off the red meat for a while, whatever, cut down on the drinking, you know, and still these things happen, you know, but Satan, you know, then you get back to normal, but it all purifies you, all builds you up for perseverance, okay? Even if things aren't working out, the Lord wants you to persevere, man. Strive, okay? So when you do strive and you get put through the ringer, you can still acquire certain, you will start acquire certain blessings. You haven't got a woman. It's been maybe a year or two since you've been with a woman. You've been desiring a female in your life. The Lord might put one in your pathway. You can say, Lord, I want me an Edomite. Give me an Edomite. I mean, the Lord can do that. If you want a concubine, a little, quick, little, cave ting. If you're in the, you want an Elamite or whatever, man. It's a blessing just to have a woman in your life anyway, just to keep you balanced out. Because you understand as a man, you need that little bit of a balance, right? You need a better job. The Lord can bless it to you, But the Lord will put you through the ringer, because the Lord, Yahweh Shemashah, wants you to beg Him the way a child would beg his father. You're putting on your father's shirt tail, say, Dad, when you're a child, I want that lollipop, or I want that candy, or I want that chocolate bar, or whatever. He'll get it for you, but he'll say, okay, when you get home, you got to eat all your dinner first. You got to eat all your greens. You got to eat all your carrots. You got to finish your, your chicken breast or whatever. So you can be a big, strong, grow up to be a strong man. When you're children. So your dad then, and then the reward is the candy bar. The same way we got to pull on this spiritual shirt tails of Yahweh Shemashai and beg and beg and beg and pray without ceasing and keep begging. When it's in your alone time, facing the east on your knees, or whether, you're driving, whether you're working out, you're always praying to Yahweh Shemashai in your mind. And all these things, the begging, the praying, the making the videos, the reading, whatever's in your specific realm of the gifts Yahweh Shemashai has given you, you do, so you can acquire the desires of thine heart, And that's within reason, of course, but the rest of these blessings are going to come in the kingdom. In the kingdom, you're going to have everything. On this side, the Lord will give you things to keep you balanced out, because the Lord don't want you to be hungry. He doesn't want you to be poor or rich, paraphrasing scripture there. All right? Okay? He'll give you food convenient. All right? He'll give you a job. That won't take up too much of your time, and you'll earn enough money to keep yourself balanced out. The Lord will give you a woman if need be. Or the Lord might not give you a woman and say, okay, you don't need one. Or the Lord will give you one. The Lord will give you an okay car, or even a beautiful car. The Lord will give you a decent yard to live in, or a real nice, decent yard to live in. The Lord will give you clothes on your back, water, food, and raiment. We should be content in that. Right? But there's certain things that you acquire. You've got to delight yourself in the Lord, man. As mentioned, reading, praying, first and foremost. Keep your medicine strong, as Apostle Ricard would say. Right? And then doing whatever you can with the spiritual gifts that you have. Whether one person's watching or 10 people are watching, it doesn't matter. All right, you still do it, because the angels are watching, they're recording. They're the staff of Yahweh Shemashai. They come and go back and forth, man, giving reports. All right. So Psalms 37:4, delight thyself also in the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Matthew 7 and 7 and 8. Sorry, Matthew 7 verses 7 and 8. Ask and it shall be given. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open unto you. Verse 8. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Okay. So these things have stipulations and certain, ultimately the Lord's got to choose you. John 15:16, right? Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Once those doors of this lovely realm of Yahweh Shemashai is open unto you, all these other gifts will come as well. There'll be a lot of bitterness. Don't get it twisted. It's not going to be a sweet ride, right? But you have a few seconds um, in this punishment that we're going to go through. You have a few seconds of things maybe going your way to a certain degree, or maybe going your way, you know. But for the most part, you're gonna um, persevere. But the Lord will keep you balanced out. But when you do compare, how your old life was and how it is now, you would think to yourself, okay, things did work out to a certain degree in your old life, right? But you did a lot of wickedness, and with that wickedness came a lot of you know a lot of punishment too. You know, when you really analyze it and think about it. So the Lord is just taking you as a you know. Elder Yasha Wamba would say in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, the Lord is taking you from glory to glory, next level to next level. You've got to think to yourself, since you come into this thing, have you gone backwards? You've gone forward, right? Exactly. And you're getting better, right? So you got to really sort of self-examine, as that Michael Jackson song would say, in the man in the mirror. You got to look at the man in the mirror. So many scriptures come to mind, but I'm just trying to use the ones that are let's go to John. John 1 and 6. John 1 verses 6 and 7. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. You've got to be fully stern when you ask him, Yahweh Shai. You can't be thinking, oh, what if this don't happen? You've got to be really solid in your thought process. Okay. Verse 7. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Okay? For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. All right? So you got to ask, without being, because as the scriptures say, paraphrasing, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You don't know whether you're coming or going. So if you don't know whether you're coming or going, how are you going to get to that specific destination that you want to get to? Because you don't know whether you're coming or going. So therefore, you can't be wavering. All right? When you're asking, you've got to put in the work. You've got to ask in the name. All right? You've got to ask in the name. That's the key part as well. You've got to have the name. All right? John 14, verses 13 and 14. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. That's Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 14, if ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. All right. You got to put in the work. You got to ask in the name. You got to pray. You got to put in the work, whatever's in your realm, because everyone's got their own little portion or big portion, right? You got to put some effort to study, even whether it's reading a chapter a day, 2 chapters a day, 10 chapters a day. If you're going to read multiples, a multitude of, what's the term? If you can read multiple chapters or, and keep going, that's excellent, if you've got the time like that, And, and then when you do these things and, you study as much as you can and learn and watch the lessons and you pray and, you do what you got to do on your end, all right? Studying, praying, studying, learning, reading the scriptures, making videos, if you're like our frontline prophets standing in the front lines, man, most importantly, because they're the men of the Lord, you do these things, that's when these blessings come. But you'll be put through the ringer. But the Lord, Yahweh Shemashah, won't put so much on you that you won't be able to handle. Paraphrasing scripture there. He'll only put on you enough. And then, You put that squeeze there, and then as soon as you get to the point thinking, oh man, this is getting real tight, and then the Lord just takes the pressure off. If you notice that, okay, it's only to build you up and purify you. All right. So there's a multitude of factors that you've got to follow to acquire the desires of thine heart. Certain desires, the Lord will bless you on this side, but the rest of these desires, okay, all right, that payday is going to be in the kingdom, man. You're going to have everything then. It all starts now. All right. So that was the verse of the day. I just want to add my little, as they say, you guys, your brothers in America say 2 cents. I'm going to say, I just want to add my little 2 pence in. And I just want to add my, just want to give my little, I just wanted to give my little I just want to give my little spiritual quick hitter. So Psalms 37:4 again, verse of the day. Delight thyself also in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yashai, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. All right? You're going to get some on this side. On the other side, as Italian Jakes would say, forget about it. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakah Kodash, Shalom. And Shalom Barakah.